This is the Dollemore Daily, and I'm Jesse Dollemore. Today's video is brought to you by Noom. In just a minute, I'm going to talk about an offer exclusive to my audience that I really think will benefit you. Stick around. Before I get to that, though, I want to talk a little bit about the sinister characters within the Republican Party, the leaders of the Republican Party, the chief strategist of the Republican Party, pushing the agenda forward, thinking about the future, how to maintain power. And chief among them, agents of chaos, is Steve Bannon, former chief strategist of the White House, working in the West Wing next to Donald Trump, ran Breitbart.com, the alt-right rag, has said horrible things in sworn court filings about not wanting his kids to go to school with Jews. He's a terrible person. And he just effectively admitted that, yeah, he did help plan the January 6th insurrection, and he gave his reasons. And I'm going to talk about those. All the time, I talk about the dangerous situation we find ourselves in as a country. The very real, not hyperbolic, existential threats that we face as a country, that our very democracy is in peril. And it is largely because of Steve Bannon and his cohort. The people like Rudy Giuliani and those other ding-dongs that orbit Donald Trump. And if we don't keep our eyes on the ball and stay focused, we're going to lose our country. The good news is that we all have it within ourselves to organize, to stay involved, and if you're not involved, get involved, because it's not over. There's still a lot of time to ensure that we save what we've built over these hundreds of years. We still can achieve the aspirational goals that we aspire to. Aspirational goals that we aspire to. America's not over, but it's going to take every single one of us getting involved and staying involved to save it. I'm going to get to this, but before I do, a word from today's sponsor, Noom. There is simple satisfaction in a task well done. Part of the fun of my work here on YouTube is applying my lens to today's news. I analyze what's going on in the world, and then I share my interpretation with all of you in hopes that together we can come to a greater understanding of what's going on. I find similar delight in home cooking, for instance, executing my own take on someone else's recipe to create a delicious dinner brings me a lot of joy. And in a relative short amount of time, which is important. But because of a debilitating training accident I was involved in while I was in the Marine Corps, when I dislocated my hip and messed up my knee pretty good, rigorous high-impact exercise is no longer an option, and some things, like weight management, for instance, always feel like a more elusive accomplishment. That is until this summer when I tried out Noom. Noom is an awesome new way to achieve daily health goals with the aid of proven psychology and cognitive behavioral therapy practices. Using both technology and real human coaching, Noom empowers you to take better control of your health. Start by taking a free 30-second quiz today at Noom.com/Dollemore and see just how Noom can help you. Or simply click the link in the description of this video and get going. You can chew through Noom's intuitive lessons and attainable goals in an easy 10 minutes a day. It's so fulfilling to check them off your list, and logging your daily food, water, and exercise intake in Noom's intuitive program is similarly gratifying. Noom's lessons are funny and insightful as well, but they also afford you space if you need to take a step back or skip a day. The coaches from Team Noom will be at your side, encouraging you to get right back at it. I am thrilled with the way Noom allows me to take measurable steps toward better health. You will dig it too, I think. Head to Noom.com/Dollemore or click the link in the description of this video to take your free 30-second quiz and start achieving better health right now. So let me read a little bit from this article. Steve Bannon admits he helped plan January 6th Trump rally to kill the Biden presidency in the crib. Former White House strategist privately told President Trump to have a reckoning on January 6th, Robert Costa says. Again, a lot of the progress that we're going to be making toward consequences, toward illuminating what exactly took place over the course of the period between the election loss of Donald Trump and the inauguration. The way we're going to get to the bottom of this is through intrepid reporting, but also lawsuits. And maybe some of the reporting will lead to lawsuits. Maybe some of the reporting will lead to investigations by Congress. And hopefully, when they decide to get off their hands, the Justice Department. Trump White House chief strategist Steve Bannon has said that he spoke with Donald Trump ahead of the rally on January 6th, discussing how to kill the Biden presidency in the crib before a pro-Trump mob laid siege to the Capitol to stop the certification of President Joe Biden's election victory. Much like what took place the day of Obama's first inauguration, where Republicans huddled together and vowed with one another to absolutely obstruct any progress, any achievements that might be had by then President Obama. The same thing happened here, except it was more extreme and more violent, obviously more violent. During a broadcast on Real America's Voice, Mr. Bannon played a clip from MSNBC of Washington Post reporters Robert Costa and Bob Woodward speaking about the events that led up to the Capitol riot. Quote, "You look at January 5th, we discovered that Steve Bannon, the former White House strategist, was there at the Willard Hotel blocks from the White House with Rudy Giuliani, having an almost war room type meeting with other Trump allies the eve before the January 6th insurrection," Mr. Costa said. And Bannon had actually been in close touch with President Trump for days before January 6th, based on our reporting. He privately told President Trump to have a reckoning on January 6th and said to the president, "It's time to kill the Biden presidency in the crib," he added. Yeah, because of his legitimacy, Mr. Bannon said about Biden. 42% of the American people think that Biden did not win the presidency legitimately. Mr. Bannon appeared to be referring to an Economist YouGov poll conducted November 8th through 10th, 2020, just days after the election, among 1,500 registered voters in the United States. There's no evidence that Mr. Biden's win was fraudulent. I'm going to play this section of tape so you can hear it for yourself. A lot of these people hide behind the words they use. They use words that have power, and they evoke emotion, like a reckoning. And they need to be held accountable for this type of language. Not a lot of wiggle room there. Costa told MSNBC on Monday night, "The most striking scene to me is after Vice President Pence leaves the Oval Office on January 5th, we have in our book President Trump opening the door on a freezing night, January 5th, with the future rioters outside, his supporters outside in the streets of Washington, and in the frigid air, having the gust of air come into the Oval Office. And he wouldn't close the door." Quote, he said to his aides in the Oval Office, "Listen to them. These are my supporters. They want us to act tomorrow on January 6th. And even as some of his own aides were shivering in the Oval Office that night, the president wouldn't close the door. He wanted to hear the cries of his supporters. This is the same scene that has been reported where Donald Trump asked Mike Pence, but wouldn't it be cool to have the kind of power to be able to single-handedly overturn an election? The same scene, while protesters are screaming and wailing outside, Donald Trump wanting Mike Pence to hear them, that he tells Mike Pence, "I don't want to be your friend anymore if you don't do this for me." This is the man revered by MAGA idiots everywhere. "I don't want to be your friend." Here's the clip from Steve Bannon, all but admitting to his involvement in the January 6th insurrection. Watch this.
And who's he talking to that night? Steve Bannon on the phone. He's telling Steve Bannon over at the Willard Hotel, we need to kill the Biden presidency in the crib. That was the phrase based on our reporting in that conversation.
Yeah, because there's legitimacy. Let's look at the Economist poll. The Economist, not the War Room, not Revolver, the Economist. 42% of the American people, 42% of the American people think that Biden did not win the presidency legitimately. It killed itself. That's why this debt ceiling fight, the CR fight, so important. That's why getting and exposing to the world the Mogadishu situation in Del Rio, Texas, particularly for all the hardworking Hispanic, blue-collar Hispanics in this country, American citizens. Just let this go what this illegitimate regime is doing. It killed itself, okay? But we told you from the very beginning, just expose it, never back down, never give up, and this thing will implode. And we'll save, and in doing so, we will save our country.
I would have you note one specific thing. He's admitting that their reporting is correct. They say they're reporting in the book that this conversation happened, that he said this thing about killing the Biden presidency in the crib. And he doesn't say, whoa, that's wrong. I didn't say that. He says, yep. And this is why. One, lends a lot of credibility to the rest of the reporting in the book, in my assessment. And two, where are the investigations into Steve Bannon, who was hanging out with Rudy Giuliani that day in the Willard Hotel? Steps from the White House. Counseling Donald Trump. You need to have a reckoning. These people will stop at nothing before they destroy our country, before they mold it and fashion it into the fascist utopia that they so desperately desire it to be. I'd love to know what you think. Please, you can call, leave me a brief voicemail, 714-576-4054. Of course, you can email me daily at dollemore.com. Connect with me on the social media. It's a good time, or sometimes. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. I'm even doing the YouTube Shorts now, so if you like to flip through TikTok style, but on YouTube, what an innovation. You can do that as well. If I bring you value, whether it be a smile or some information to your day, I would appreciate you supporting my work, helping produce my work here on the platform for as little as $2 a month. You can click the join button below the video here or head on over to patreon.com/IDoubtItPodcast. All of those are great ways to help support what I do. I love you guys. I appreciate you. I'll see you next time. Until I do, be genuine. Take care of one another.